Focaccia is a flat oven-baked Italian bread product similar in style and texture to pizza doughs. It may be topped with herbs or other ingredients. Focaccia is popular in Italy and is usually seasoned with olive oil, salt, sometimes herbs, and may at times be topped with onion, cheese and meat. It might also be flavored with a number of vegetables. Focaccia can be used as a side to many meals, as a base for pizza, or as sandwich bread. Composition: the common known focaccia is salt focaccia. Focaccia doughs are similar in style and texture to pizza doughs, consisting of high-gluten flour, oil, water, salt and yeast. It is typically rolled out or pressed by hand into a thick layer of dough and then baked in a stone bottom or hearth oven. Bakers often puncture the bread with a knife to relieve bubbling on the surface of the bread. Also common is the practice of dotting the bread. This creates multiple wells in the bread by using a finger or the handle of a utensil to poke the unbaked dough. As a way to preserve moisture in the bread, olive oil is then spread over the dough, by hand or with a pastry brush prior to rising and baking. In the northern part of Italy, lard will sometimes be added to the dough, giving the focaccia a softer, slightly flakier texture. Focaccia recipes are widely available, and with the popularity of bread machines, many cookbooks now provide versions of dough recipes that do not require hand kneading. Comparison with pizza: the primary difference between conventional pizza and focaccia is that pizza dough uses very little leavening, resulting in a very thin, flat and flexible crust, while focaccia dough uses more leavening, causing the dough to rise significantly higher. The added leavening firms the crust and gives focaccia the capacity to absorb large amounts of olive oil. Unleavened pizza dough is already too dense to absorb much olive oil. A conventional loaf of bread is too tall to absorb olive oil all the way through to its center. Being shorter in height than a conventional loaf and less dense than a pizza dough, focaccia can indeed absorb olive oil all the way to its center or at least nearly so. As such, focaccia might well be thought of as olive oil bread. Focaccia is most often square whereas conventional pizza is more commonly round. Focaccia most often employs more salt than pizza. There exist traditional Italian pizza recipes, incorporating more leavening, in amounts similar to focaccia, especially in southern Italy, and specifically sfinciuni. If these leavened pizzas were to incorporate equivalent amounts of olive oil in the dough, they would be very similar to a focaccia, except perhaps for the herbs or toppings used. Similarly, any thick crust pizza that incorporates large amounts of olive oil would be very similar to focaccia, again except for the variance in the herbs and toppings employed. Contrary to pizza where more than one topping is often found mixed on the same pizza, toppings are not commonly mixed on one focaccia, although one topping and one herb might be mixed. Whereas pizza often has toppings peppered only intermittently on its surface, on focaccia, a single topping is often layered more uniformly and thick. Etymology and regional variants: in ancient Rome, panis focaceus was a flat bread baked on the hearth. The word is derived from the Latin focus meaning hearth, place for baking. The basic recipe is thought by some to have originated with the Etruscans or ancient Greeks, but today it is widely associated with Ligurian cuisine. As the tradition spread, the different dialects and diverse local ingredients resulted in a large variety of bread. Due to the number of small towns and hamlets dotting the coast of Liguria, the focaccia recipe has fragmented into countless variations, with some bearing little resemblance to its original form. The most extreme example is the specialty focaccia col formaggio, which is made in Recco, near Genoa. Other than the name, this Recco version bears no resemblance to other focaccia varieties, having a Kala copyright and cheese-filling sandwich between two layers of paper-thin dough. It is even being considered for European Union PGI status. Regional variations also exist, such as Focaccia Dolce, popular in some parts of northwestern Italy, consisting of a basic focaccia base and sprinkled lightly with sugar, or including raisins, honey, or other sweet ingredients. Focaccia is present in many variants in Italy itself, for example the Focaccia alla Genovese, originated in Genoa, or the Focaccia alla Messinese, from Messina. Another widespread variation is the Focaccia Barres, common in the provinces of Bari, Brindisi, Lecce and Taranto. This focaccia is at least partially made with hard wheat flour. It usually comes in 3 variations: classic focaccia with fresh tomatoes, and often olives as well, potato focaccia with potato slices 5 on thick, and white focaccia with salt grains and rosemary. Some other variations include peppers, onions, eggplant or other vegetables. In Burgundy, focaccia is called foisse, or foisse, and in Catalonia, Provence and Languedoc it's fogaça, or, more commonly, the French fougasse. In Argentina, it is widely consumed under the name fugaza, derived from fugasa in the native language of Argentina's many Ligurian immigrants. The Spaniards call it hogaza. In American English, it is sometimes referred to as focaccia bread. The Sicilian-style pizza, and the Roman pizza bianca can be considered a variant of focaccia. Focaccia is used extensively as a sandwich bread outside of Italy. Sweet focaccia or focaccia veneta is a cake, typical of Venetian Easter tradition. Unlike the other kinds of focaccia, it is based on eggs, sugar and butter, instead of olive oil and salt. This makes its recipe and use unique across be very similar to other Venetian cakes like pandoro. In South Tyrol and in the small village of Krimml in Austria, the so-called Osterfotschers, is the traditional Easter gift of the godparents to their godchildren. Therefore, the bread is slightly thinner in the center, to put in the colored Easter eggs. See also Fougasse, pan foǎccea, tomato pie. References